going back to our first thing is energy in, right? So you choose your thoughts. Do you all agree you have free will to choose your thoughts? Is there anyone that's possessed? Is there anyone that's ever been manipulated by other people's thoughts? Everyone has probably been at one time manipulated by other people's thoughts. Roy Williams was a man, he taught people how to manipulate other people's other thoughts. Advertisements. I'll tell you, I don't like fast food at all. I go watch the Super Bowl and I hit McDonald's. You know, all of a sudden I wanted a Domino's pizza. Like I haven't wanted a Domino's pizza in years. And that's where when you filter out the things you don't want, then you start living you got to think about those things consciously. Your thought causes your feelings. So more importantly about getting past the analytical mind is getting people feeling something, which causes your body to take action. So what does the R stand for? Anybody? Results. So I'm going to start over here. Is thought particles, which equal thought energy. So if you think of the atom, it's just literally the building blocks of everything. We literally just saw it in the furthest distance as well as in the smallest piece in us. Your thought becomes an idea. As you start to shape that idea, whether it's positive or negative, whether it's going to serve you well or not, the idea causes emotion. That emotion alters your vibration. Your vibration you're putting out there, whether I'm positive, negative, passion or not, you're feeling that. When you really feel it, then you take it on and you're like, okay, this is changing the room environment of being passionate about something. That emotion vibrates. That vibration is expressed through an action. My action is actually sharing this with you. As I share it with you, conditions, circumstances, and the environment change the results by your action causes a reaction, which alters your results. So when you have an idea, when you actually put a thought into something and it becomes an idea, whatever it is like the idea of saying you're stupid or whatever, guess what happens? It becomes self-fulfilling. Everything is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whether we like it or not, our words matter. And that's where AI and copywriting and all these different things, they have to get so they're not selling people because everyone's buying. You are made chemical reaction to make buying. This right here, this reaction is when you see a commercial that drives you to do something, it's because it's actually causing your brain to fire in ways that brings nostalgia. Like Coca-Cola. What is Coca-Cola's brand? Original? What else? Huh? Classic? Nostalgia? They're losing a little bit because, and that's where Coke is actually losing the battle of marketing, because as all of us, and I would say, how many of you drink Coke? How many of you drink Coke now? How many of you drank more Coke 10 years ago? A lot of people, and I'll just say their marketing is to bring back to childhood. A lot of their marketing is about happiness and about childhood. And their older marketing was really about the fountain soda, the five and dime store of just simpleness. In the end, when you had social media and all of a sudden the masses are like, okay, Coke's not that good for you, it started changing their brand. And remember, I was in the boardroom and I got a funny story that I gave the top 100 people in their company were in a disruption workshop. And at the time, their chairman had just spoke. And he said, we bleed red, which meant Coca-Cola. This was about 10 years ago. And I came on stage right after that to do a disruption. I had a 3-day workshop that he was really introducing me. And I was like, he said, we bleed red, which meant Coca-Cola, which funny enough now, Coke Zero has a red can. But at the time, Coke Zero was a black can. I came on stage and I took the garbage, which they had been in there and it was filled, and I dumped it on stage. I was like, is he going to work or it's not going to work? I don't know. So I dumped this thing on stage and out falls 1 Coke Zero and like 50 bottles of Dasani. I'm like, I don't think you believe you bleed red. And it was like the most impactful moment that led me on a journey with them. Good thing is this guy Muhtar Kent left the building, left the room, and I don't think he heard that I said that, but the group was like, wow. And then we brainstormed on how to really shift from that strategy, in particular about a brand, a restaurant that they worked with. Well, that's something that when you think of these thought particles and you think of how people are programmed, they still believe they bled red because they were told they bled red. But their actions were different, which in they had a different idea because they had different information about Coca-Cola, what it was and what it wasn't. And the emotions they had changed about that brand. And all of us throughout our life change our emotions about what we want or don't want. But part of it is to understand why it happens. Ads are very manipulative. I was in the ad business for 15 years where the sole goal is how do I get people buy something that they don't need? That's probably not a very good place to be, and why I'm not there anymore, why I sold the company in 2015. And I'll tell you a story about the guy, Agmendino, that he wrote the greatest salesman of the world ever. And all he did is he sold like 13,000 cars in 18 years or something. Crazy amount of cars. It's like 3 a day, 4 days. So he always had a waiting list on Saturdays. I'm sure it was like 10 deep. But all he did is he manipulated people by, he sent them cards every month. And he would sign them and everything. And then eventually didn't sign them, and it still worked because he had signed them, but he would send them in Happy Valentine's Day. And he just, everyone he ever met, he got them on a list and started building. This is like a 20-year-old story, 25-year-old story. He's a car salesman. But over time, that doesn't feel very authentic, right? Over time, everyone believed it. And then they would show up. And of course, he really did. He liked them a lot because they bought cars from him, right? So they would wait in line for this guy because they were always looking. He was the only one that sent them cards on all these weird random holidays, like Happy Easter. Who does that? Well, that was his secret. As he was on the Johnny Carson show. This tells you how old. So it's probably 30 years, 40. And he just tells this story. He's like, yeah, all I did is like, people believed it. And I ended up, that was me. I did. He's like, he literally just like, I like you. If we're convinced to do something or be seen a certain way, we will then do the things that we need to do to be that person. Because we'll start seeing the signs, the frequencies that'll actually help us get there. And then later we'll talk about the obstacles we choose, because most of us choose very small obstacles to choose. Like, oh, what's for dinner? Or what to wear, or what, all these different things. And I think as we learn to grow past like small things, then we start living into a much, much bigger future. But it is our belief system. It's the story we tell. It's the habits we have. It's the thoughts we have. Again, I'm just going over the 7 universal truths. You guys will see it over and over again. So you guys understand, like this, really revisiting this model is something for you to think about. This is how you can reprogram yourself and unlearn things. And unlearn is important because you learn some things that right now you absolutely believe are true. But when you start actually consciously thinking about what they are and do they serve you well, they may not be really true to others.